living such as hygiene and grooming, orientation, and companionship. We thank Tender Hearts for their support of this station. Tender Hearts TLC, where they don't just care for your loved one, they give them tender, loving care. For more info, you can reach them at 909-528-9759. That's 909-528-9759 for Tender Hearts TLC.
KCAA.
You're listening to U-Turn, a show about finances, nonprofit organizations, and politics in your county. And here is your host, Nadia Renner, Tom Murphy, and Eric Steinman with U-Turn.
Welcome to U-Turn Radio Show, our first show every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3. We will be your hosts, like you heard, Eric Steinman, Tom Murphy, and myself, Nadia Renner. We're so excited to kick off today, and thank you for joining us. You can also be part and call us in, being that it's our first show. They could call in. You can call in at 1-909-792-5222. That's 1-909-792-5222. Let me welcome our host, Eric Steinman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tom Murphy, welcome.
Thank you. Really excited to be here.
We have a great show today. We're going to introduce what the show's about, U-Turn. So, Eric, do you want to explain what U-Turn is about?
Sure. We were trying to get a show to talk about some of the things that ordinarily people wouldn't be talking about regarding county government that we've had some experiences with, Tom and myself. We've tried to, do some things to result in some changes, and I wouldn't say we've been tremendously successful. And some of the problems we're running into, we think are of concern to a wider group of people. And so this is our attempt to try and talk about it and see if other people feel the same way, and maybe collectively we can help make things a better place to live, work, and play around here. And why we're at it, if we can help people directly through this show that would like to, for instance, raise money for their charity, or they have their problems, then, always good to try and take a direct approach to helping make things better as well. So we're open to that. Thank you.
And we have also Tom Murphy. Tom, tell us about U-Turn, the actual title. How did we come up? Tell them how we came up with this title.
Sure. We were kicking it back and forth. We had a working title that was bad, and we were discussing where we wanted to go with the show, and kind of on a philosophical or general or way, we came up with U-Turn, and it was just a back and forth conversation. And the more I thought about it, I was driving down, the more I liked it. And the reason is, if you make a U-turn, you're headed the wrong way, right?
Correct.
If you need to make a U-turn, it's because you're headed the wrong way, or you need to go. You got to go backwards. And on a couple of different levels, as Eric said, if you're struggling with the financial problem, need advice, you can call in. That's something where you want to make a U-turn in your life. If there's issues in local government that need to change, where you would like to see a U-turn in local government, what I love about the show's name is we're about saying, hey, we're headed the wrong way, let's turn around, head the other way. So that's why I really like the U-Turn name and how we came up with it.
Right, and we're also concentrating on the county of San Bernardino, cities like Fontana, Riverside, Redlands. What other cities am I missing?
You got the High Desert. Don't forget that.
High Desert.
Hesperia, Victorville, Barstow.
Barstow out, at the Needles.
Yeah.
San Bernardino County is huge.
You have the mountains, Wrightwood, Big Bear. You have all the way down to Covina, just this side of it anyway, and or Chino Hills. I think that's where the county border is, down that way.
I'm actually still learning everything about this county. I recently moved here, so this is really exciting for anybody that just also moved into the county or has lived in the county or grew up in the county. This is a great way also to talk about where you come from and how we're gonna also give knowledge about different things. If you're new like myself and I don't know all the cities, you can learn a lot. So I'm really excited to be part of the team as well and be part of U-Turn, because like I said, I didn't grow up here. I'm not from here. So there's a lot of things that I don't have knowledge about that we're gonna be covering. Like Eric said, we're gonna be covering politics within our county. We're gonna be we're gonna give money away to charities as well. We're going to be talking about finances. If you need help, if you have questions, we're also going to be able to provide that. We're going to have people come in, experts come in, and talk about those type of things. Let's just talk a little bit of who we are as well before we keep developing what we're going to be talking about every Sunday from 2 to 3 here on U-Turn. Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up here in the county.
Yeah, I was born... Actually, I was born right across the county line up in Wrightwood. We lived at the ski area at that time, which is across the county line for LA County, and San Bernardino County goes through Wrightwood. I was on the other side when I was born, but I, probably by 6, 7 years old, moved across the county line 3 miles or something like that, and so went to school throughout my life in public schools within San Bernardino County, elementary school in Wrightwood, junior high in Hesperia, high school in Apple Valley, junior college at Victor Valley Junior College, some of my college at or San Bernardino State, and then went down to LA to finish my college. But definitely from here, worked here, grew up here, and partial to seeing a good result in what we have going on here in San Bernardino County.
How was it growing up here? I mean, was there a lot of buildings around? I mean, I come from LA area, Whittier, so I mean, I had a different, and let's just say I'm a little younger too. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
So the development of the cities were a lot more than what I think I can picture what it was here a few years ago when Eric was growing up.
Yeah, no, it was a little different back then. In fact, Tom and I originally, and we are, this is 40 plus years ago. We're talking, we worked together at a riding stable in the summers up there, and that kind of stuff doesn't necessarily exist so much anymore. But, and we used to come down on weekend, or not even on weekends, but if we got a free night, we would come down and cruise East Street in San Bernardino, go bowling at the Del Rosa Bowl, and they got computerized scoring was a huge thing when it started. I thought that's as forward as it was going to get, but that's right up and down by the original McDonald's, which is now a McDonald's museum. So things were quite a bit different. Gas was 25 cents. Yeah. Hamburgers were 15 cents.
I definitely
missed that.
I definitely wasn't.
We're not trying to go back there, but
yes, we are.
We know where we came from.
If the prices were that good, I would be so excited, but they're not. And like I said, I was not around for that time.
Yeah.
But did you grow up, like, for example, with a lot of friends around, like the neighborhood, or was it more of a lonely place here? How was it before now?
Well, we were actually, where I grew up was up on the mountains, and we got bused down to school. After we got through elementary school, we got on a bus that, it was an hour ride down the hill to go to, junior high, and an hour and a half back, because the bus goes a little slower up the hill. So spent a lot of time on buses, and that develops its own
That's
ecosystem.
A lot of time to get in trouble.
Yeah, it is a lot. There's a lot of angling on who you're going to sit next to and not on those buses. But no, I've always enjoyed being from here. I always was proud to be from here. Hopefully we can help keep things that way.
Absolutely. So then here we have Tom. Tom, you also grew up here in the county?
I was raised in the 2 W's.
The 2 W's, what's that?
One W is Whittier.
Okay.
Whittier, California is down below. That's where the home was. But every summer, the whole family would pack up and go to Wrightwood, and the whole family was 10 kids and mom.
Oh wow!
And Dad would stay down below and work. So my memories of growing up are actually more of Wrightwood than they are of Whittier. Wrightwood kind of left a bigger imprint on me. Walking around bare feet, hot tar streets. So that's basically, where I was born and raised. School, I went to Cal State Long Beach. Well, I graduated from Cal State Long Beach. That was, I think, school number 4. Degree in microbiology, which I did absolutely nothing with the day I left. It's a really interesting topic. Study it. It's really interesting. But I joined the military, flew helicopters, and bounced around a little bit and ended up back here.
Oh, really cool. So how did you guys meet? How's this connection with Eric and you, Tom?
Wait a second. Are you gonna tell us where your background is?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them how you guys came, and then I'm gonna tell you guys where I'm from and how I came about the team.
I just want to make sure you weren't skipping yourself.
No, I'm not gonna skip
there.
myself. I'll tell you a little bit about myself.
Don't be cheating. So there was a long line of Murphy males that worked for the Steinman clan at the Wrightwood Mountain Riding Stables, and I think I was the last of the. Yeah, I was the last clan. My younger brother didn't do that gig. So the way I met Eric first time was as it was a really bad business model. It was a 15-year-old teenager putting 6- and 7-year-old kids on horses and taking them for a ride. And these weren't ponies. These were like real horses.
This was a summer job that when you would come down, you would do it with Eric.
Right. Yep.
And then that's how you guys met, and ever since then, you guys stayed in touch. And
actually, Eric and my brother Dan, they kind of grew up together at the stables, got in a lot of trouble together at the stables, and Dan and Eric stayed in touch through the. I kind of bumped back into Eric 35 years later. And we kind of started working together.
I think it's more like 40.
Okay,
45.
Whatever. You'll find that math is not my strong point.
Well, I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I grew up in Norwalk, lived a little bit actually in Whittier as well. But I was born in Costa Rica, raised out here. And my first language was Spanish. So from time to time, my ESL does kick in. I will say that. I have sisters, and it was very exciting growing up out here in Whittier because I felt like, I still had like a lot of friends in the whole neighborhood where we didn't have iPods and all the technology that I use now growing up. So, I still got to experience that part as far as like running around and playing around. I went to Vanguard University out in Costa Mesa, graduated from there, and I started doing radio since I graduated high school. It was like my biggest passion. I used to listen, I still do. I feel like I listen to music all the time, and it was one of the things that I truly enjoyed. And this is how I came about with this team now. It was one of those things where you guys wanted to work on this project, and I have a great question when we come back from break as far as what we're doing here as a team. But as far as myself, knowing Eric and Tom was exactly for this purpose, radio, and we just came all together to do this for you every Sunday from 2 to 3. U-Turn Radio Show will be here every Sunday from now on. We're going to go into commercials. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about why is it important for you guys, especially because you guys obviously grew up in the county. We heard a little bit about Eric's story, Tom's story, about how they grew up here. And I think that could be one of the main reasons also why this show, U-Turn, is so important for not just Eric and Tom, but for the community as well. And we invite you to call in to also be part of our show at 909-792-5222. That's 909-792-5222. When we get back, we have more about U-Turn and what we're doing here.
We'll be right back to U-Turn after this commercial break. Don't go away.
Want it easy? To listen to KCAA on your smartphone, that is, listen to your favorite programs easily. No more buffering, waiting, frustration, or downloading a special app. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM have made it as easy as dialing the phone. Call our special dial-up phone number and listen until your heart's content. Listen in your Snuggie, or whatever. Just listen, or even on the road. Call 1-701-801-4444. That's 1-701-801-4444, and get ready to have your mind expanded on the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM. You can also listen at kcaaradio.com.
The human liver is robust, but it really takes a beating. Help keep your liver in ideal shape with Quantum Nutrition Lab's Quantum Turmeric in its full spectrum state from growers in India, and with Quantum Liver Support for optimal detoxification and liver health. For a limited time, both are on special. Buy 2 bottles, get the third one free. Call 888-588-7578. That's 888-588-7578. Or visit us online at qnlabs.com. That's QNLABS.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Our product line, Quantum Nutrition Labs, delivers what others only promise, nutrition that really works.
Hey, this is Gary Garver. You know, I've been having trouble getting a good night's sleep lately. Maybe you have too. Well, if you have been, South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out. South Pacific Sleep Lab provides a personal study to help you find out how to get a great night of sleep. I've been having sleeping issues during the night lately for a number of reasons. South Pacific Sleep Lab evaluated me with an overnight study of my sleep pattern. With their professional staff, they were able to provide me with a diagnosis of my sleep pattern, and ever since, I haven't had much of a problem getting a great night of sleep. South Pacific Sleep Lab has locations throughout Southern California, including one in Fontana, and they will provide transportation to any of their locations at no cost to you. South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just give them a call at 844-SAD-5050 to schedule your appointment today. That's 844-SAD-5050.
Tom, Nadia, and Eric are back with more only on the U-Turn radio show right here on KCAA.
That's right. Welcome back to the U-Turn Show with myself, Nadia Renner, Eric Steinman, and Tom Murphy. Right before we went on to our break, we were talking about who we were as on-air hosts and how we came together to do this perfect show for you every Sunday from 2 to 3, U-Turn. We were talking about how Eric and Tom grew up in the county and why it's so important for them, why the county is so important to them. And why don't we go a little bit more into details, Eric, and talk about why it's so important for you guys, or Tom, you as well, to keep growing the community for you.
So Tom and I have been working through some different channels to try and get some positive change, and that's we formed an entity called the Red Brennan Group. It's named after Red Brennan, who was actually a former neighbor of mine. He passed away recently, but he was formerly on the grand jury here in San Bernardino. He helped sponsor an initiative about 5 years ago to try and restore some degree of sanity to compensation structure at the supervisor level. It was called Measure R on that last ballot. And it was passed by 64% of the people. It basically resulted in a cut in the payments for supervisors, their staffs, and also a reduction in these discretionary funds that they have that are unbudgeted amounts for them to spend. And it was passed by 64% of the people, but the supervisors themselves in San Bernardino put their own measure above it, Measure Q, and deceptively called that a transparency measure when it really was something to restore their pay. And by having any part of that gained more votes than the one that was below it on the ballot, immediately below it, which they chose the order, it seems like, although they try to say it was random. They effectively nixed that other proposal. So through all the effort of going through gathering signatures, putting something on the ballot, getting it to pass, and 64% of the people saying this is what we want to have happen, it didn't happen. So the next phase was, from my involvement, I tried to help Red on that proposal when it was going through. Then a couple people ran for supervisor. That one of them, Robert Lovingood, was a friend of mine for some time. I used to work in an office near him, know him to be a good guy. He ran for office and got elected. I thought that's the start of maybe changing things through that. Maybe I can just support Robert. But over time it's become clear that he's one vote amongst five, and that there's tremendous pressure on all those people in office to not to basically keep growing government and not put in reasonable fiscal restraints. And we would talk, and he would say, look, if I have 3 more votes, we can talk about something else. If not, that's just not reality. So Tom and I got together, talked about things we could do to change things in this later stage of our life for the better, and we put together an organization called the Red Brennan Group, named after Red, who started this, and we tried to put some initiatives on for this ballot cycle 2018. And the response we got from the county on that was, instead of, as the law requires, giving us a ballot summary and title, letting us go out and get signatures on them, they sued us, and repeatedly did so. So we would put more measures in, they would sue us. We would try a different version of the same thing, they would sue us. So pretty much foreclosed the normal way you would try to go about making some changes in the county, which would be through the citizens initiative process, and that's where we are. So that's we regrouped and said, well, what do we do next? And one thing is, we got to talk about some of the things, and talk about some of the things that are problems that people aren't really aware of, and maybe if we can get enough support, they'll walk a little softer in some of their heavy-handed moves that prevent the people in the county from expressing what they want to really happen. So that was how Tom and I started down this path that got us on the air here.
Yeah, it's kind of a the goal, in if on a wider area or a wider look, there's government overreach at every level, state, federal, local, and one of the ideas behind U-Turn is we want to raise that conversation. We're specifically interested in at the local level here in San Bernardino counties, but raise that conversation and get people interested and aware of what's going on locally, and to try to
So kind of like give a behind the scenes as far as what things that we probably don't also know is what we're trying to communicate here on U-Turn.
Yeah.
But I have a question. How hard is it, and for the people that don't know, how hard is it to pass a measure? Like what's the process of doing that type of stuff?
Oh, that's no small deal. You start with having to get 27,000 valid signatures. First, you have to write a measure and submit it to the county council to approve in format or whatever, and then so you need your own attorneys to look at it and say that it's pretty much a legal measure, which we've done on all these ones that they've sued us on, actually. And then you submit it to the county council to look at it, and the county council then has 15 days in which they're supposed to either work with you to make some changes so that it does meet their criterion, or they're supposed to give you a ballot summary and title. With a ballot summary and title, then your next task would be to go out and get 27,000 valid signatures collected. Not a small amount of signatures, and to get 27,000 valid signatures, I think our estimate was you probably needed to get, 40,000 each.
Yeah, we were. That was the number we were targeting. It was 40,000.
40,000-ish signatures. It's no small task doing that, and then that allows you to have your proposition on the ballot. And then if the county allows it to go forward, and they don't try and pull a dirty trick like they did last time. Put something right above it that distorts it. Everyone thought they were voting for transparency and a pay cut together, Measure Q, Measure R together. And that's clear because 66% of the people voted for transparency, Measure Q, and 64% had voted for a pay cut, on Measure R, not knowing that a vote for Measure Q cancels out Measure R. They could clearly say that on the ballot, vote for one of the two. If you vote for Measure Q, it'll cancel out Measure R. And I'm sure that people would have looked a little closer. But instead they thought, oh, this is something I want. We would like to reduce the pay, and we would like to have some transparency. So they voted for both of them. So if you clear that hurdle and you got your ballot on the initiative, then it's just up to the citizens. Hopefully it's a clear enough ballot, they can understand it. Maybe you have to do some advertising to let people know what it's about. Go around and talk to some people, and then hopefully your ballot passes. And then at that time, the county has another chance to take you to court and say they don't want to implement it because they have a problem with it and whatnot. But they've totally jumped the gun at this point and started suing people as soon as they put a ballot measure in, which is really taken away from the people their right to have any say-so on their government. So we would like to not just talk about that, but talk about some of the problems that we're trying to write these initiatives about and why they're meaningful to people that are out there. A lot of people say, hey, that's something that affects people maybe in business, or some that affects people that are paying a lot of taxes or stuff like that. But this all gets down to a very real level for people on the street, where when you have too much government growth and they're not restrained, they go to every corner within their jurisdiction, which in this case is the county, to try and generate revenue to support that growth. And that includes an increase in fines, an increase in we've seen that, an increase in the cost you pay to park here, and the things happening like impounding of property from individuals, and with the revenue purpose behind it all. And so, if there was a reason that everyone needs that revenue, that's one thing. But when the county is not being run efficiently and they don't need the revenue they're trying to get, and they keep trying to get the revenue from everybody in every which way in order to support a bigger group of people that are, out there not running efficiently, then somebody should talk about it. And I think we're here to do that. And we don't have the normal restraints that people would normally have of needing to do business with the county in the future, that type of thing. Heck, Tom and I are pretty much on the last lap.
Well, not just
we're willing to tell it to you like it is.
Well, not just business or people that own business and that type of stuff, but also for young adults like myself. These are things I feel like are so important because they also have an effect on us, right?
Absolutely. The young people today are getting such a bad deal, and there's no other way to describe it other than that. And they need to understand it, and I think they understand it to some level, and they say, well, there's not much we can do about it. But there are people in different generations that care about that as well. I mean, generally people who have families care that they not handle a stinky tomato to the next generation like it wasn't really handed to us. There's a responsibility that goes there. It's, the Indians talk about looking 7 generations down with every decision they make. We're not doing that, or even close to that. And the young people today are getting extremely affected by some of this stuff, and they have to stand up and make themselves heard. That's the democracy. And when the democracy, they won't allow you to stand up, make yourself heard, and allow you to vote, then there's got to be some other means applied. So one of them is to talk about the problems honestly, which we're hoping to do here.
Right. I think it's really key too, just because before this, I feel like it's not that I didn't care. I feel like I wasn't getting enough knowledge and I couldn't find it. And I'm so excited that we now have this show, U-Turn, where we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be a little bit more simplified, and we're going to talk about it so when you go vote. Because I felt before, like I would go vote and things, I would have to do so much research. And then I'm like, well, where am I? And then you have to check too, like, where are you getting this research from? Who are you really listening to? So I think the fact that we're opening this platform to also tell people like myself, young people, why it's important, why you should start getting involved now. It's kind of like a future investment.
Absolutely. And I agree. Coming up with some of the information can be a little difficult, although it's all out there if you can track it down. Here's some of the numbers that we've kind of come up with that, this is from San Bernardino County's budget documentation, but as a young person, I'd be concerned with these numbers because they're all growth. So since 2010, 42% increase in the county budget. That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think if you went to the households in the county, you would not find that their budgets have increased 42%, like the county bureaucracy has.
It's about $1.8 billion, I think.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And tax revenue for the county.
To
or
put it in
fees.
perspective, something like, what, 2.7 billion before the start of that, increasing 1.8 billion over that short period of time. So, and that's at a time when the county population was growing at 4%. So if you have the budget increasing that much more than your population growth within the county, then you have to look not just for the last 10 years, but you have to look for the next 10 years and the next 10 years after that. Where is this line taking you? It's taking you to an unsustainable position.
Yeah, and another area of growth would be head count or employees at the county. That's gone up 18% over the same period of time. So in 2010, there was one county employee for every 108 citizens, and now it's down to one for every 95 citizens. So, and employees, as all business owners, cost money. And particularly for the county system, government system, an employee that stays for a long period of time, they cost money in the pension system until that employee dies. So your generation is going to be paying those pension bills, for the next 30 or 40 years, and the number of employees is increasing. So your bill's going up.
As we speak.
Yeah, as we speak.
Which is not, that number you really have to work to find, because, the county doesn't, not only do they not make it readily able to find what the real liability for these future pensions are, but they consciously cook the books, if you will, to distort what their liability is. In the last 10 years, they've made what, Tom, on their investments? Maybe 3 or 4% on average, right?
Yeah, before this year, it was an unaudited figure of 4% per year over the past 10 years. This was for the county retirement association, which is not the county, but it really is.
So when you have a lot of people that are working now and they're going to retire at a point in the future, and then you're going to have to pay them off for the rest of your life, you have to make projections on a number of things. How long they're going to live that you have to pay them for, something that's increasing all the time. And also, how much are you going to earn on the money you're setting aside to pay them for that later on? Now, when people in the private sector are putting their money in banks at 0.25%, or maybe buying bonds, government bonds, which recently have gone up as high as 3%, but have been around 1%, the county of San Bernardino figures that after they have all these advisors taking 1% off here and there, they're still going to make 7.25% or 7.5%. And they've never made that amount, and there's nothing indicating they will make that amount, so they distort what they're going to earn on their money, and therefore say that we have to put less away. Now, if they're right, that's great. If they do make that type of money, but they're wrong, that falls on the younger generation to cover at that time. It means less services at that time. It means people paying in fees, taxes, what have you, from the government to pay for services that were rendered to people in the past.
Wow, this is a lot of information that we're going to be covering. This is, like I said, this is stuff that I'm going to be learning as well that I wasn't even aware of. So I'm so excited to have this show every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3. We're going to go into commercials. When we come back, we're going to discuss too, like finances, business owners, and how does this affect you. When we get back, this is U-Turn.
U-Turn is coming right back. Don't go away.
I'm so tired of the buffering on my smartphone.
I'm so over it. Next.
Right? I am so over it. Next.
A radio? Next.
No buffering, just your favorite local radio station?
Next Radio uses the FM tuner that is already built into your phone, so you can listen to your favorite stations on the go. Because Next Radio uses the FM tuner already built into your smartphone, it saves on data and battery usage. When compared to streaming audio, Next Radio uses less than 1/10 of your data, and your battery will last 3 times longer. Next Radio, it's FM radio on your smartphone.
Introducing a radio inside your cell phone. Listen to all kinds of local radio stations, including KCAA 106.5 Yucaipa and 102.3 Riverside on Next Radio. Download the free Next Radio app today. 100% free, 100% fun, 0% buffering. Stop the buffer and listen to KCAA.
This is Pastor Greg from Chosen Generation Radio Show, heard right here on KCAA, 1 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do any of these sound familiar? Not sleeping well, waking up tired, drinking more coffee than usual, can't stay focused, craving sugary drinks and snacks, feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, having trouble managing your weight, not sick but not firing on all cylinders? Any one of these could mean that you might have a system overload, and Thyroadrenal might just be right for you. Think about it. You've probably been feeling like this for a while. Life has a way of wearing you down, and if you aren't getting the right nutrients, then physical and emotional wear and tear will take its toll. Most of us at some time or another could use some nutritional support for our adrenal and thyroid glands to bring things back in balance. Our bodies respond well to optimal nutrition to keep daily energy levels up and stress levels down. Try Thyroadrenal from Michael's Naturopathic Programs, a nourishing support formula with vitamins, minerals, and herbs to put back what life takes out. Look for Michael's on the label. We're serious about good health. Thyroadrenal is available at leading health food stores nationwide. If you don't see it on the shelf, then ask for it by name. Thyroadrenal.
Hey Ryan, do we have any beer in the fridge?
Nah, I thought you got some.
The game starts in 5 minutes.
And you drank the last beer at midnight on Friday.
I wish there was a place that delivered beer.
Yes, I'm Captain Crafted. I'm here to bring you beer. That's Captain, C-R-A-F-T''D. Why? Because there's no E, just a D, as in deliver, because Captain Crafted delivers.
That's right, the Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business with great prices and deliveries of your favorite beer, wine, spirits, water, ice, and mixers. Did I mention their great prices? That's CRAFTDBEER store.com or Fred Crafted Beer Store on Facebook.com. Make it easy. Google Redlands Beer Delivery. Look for Crafted Beer.
Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business, and I'm here to deliver.
Tom, Nadia, and Eric are back with more only on the U-Turn Radio Show right here on KCAA.
Welcome to U-Turn Show with myself, Nadia Renner, Eric Steinman, and Tom Murphy. Before we went on commercial break, we were talking about just, the county, what U-Turn Show is about. And Eric was giving us a lot of good information and information that we're going to keep giving out through our show, just about our county and all that good stuff. But however, my question again, and I think it's one of the things that people want to know as well, Eric, is why is this so important to you? Are you still working with the county? Are you part of the county? Why is these topics so important to you?
No. So to respond to that, I don't work with the county, and I don't need to work with the county, and that's, I think, as people assess credibility, I think you got to look at what are the motivations for somebody, and I work with the company, and we go around the country and develop these wireless communication systems. And I did at one time develop one. It was the Metro PCS system here in San Bernardino and Riverside counties. So I have a background to talk about what interactions with the county are like when you're doing multiple projects within it. But from that experience, I would never try and work here again. Even though I came from here, I feel that I work across the country in counties, cities, jurisdictions all over the county, and I can see how much easier it is to work in other places, and it doesn't make sense. So there's many people that live in the county that work with us, that started working for us here when we started 22 years ago in Victorville or something with this business, that still work with us, but we don't do any work here anymore. And so I'm indifferent to who we would rub the wrong way in talking about these issues. What does keep me concerned about it is that I still have a lot of family. I come from a large family. I still have a lot of family here in the county. I have a brother who is a doctor, does a lot of it. He works with a large group here in Redlands and does a lot of his surgery at San Bernardino County Medical Center. I have family members who are developers and builders. My mom still builds houses. She's a general contractor, and I see her having to go down to the county and deal with them 2-3 years to get a building permit, baking stuff to take to them. I mean, that is not what should be happening. County should realize that people who know what they're doing and want to go out and create some economy, that's good for everybody in the county. It increases their tax base. It provides jobs, and if you don't allow those people that are competent and do want to do something to do it, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You end up with people who don't have the background, who are going into the county and getting worked over for the first time, and then you feel like you do need to ride herd on these people. So I see that with my family, and I see that there's a need for a change, that even their actions are going to be impacted. And in one particular instance, my brother John, who's a surgeon, spine surgeon, does a lot of surgery at the county. This kind of got me going on this. He was approached by a number of nurses at the county hospital about people, being inappropriately treated. People, for lack of, not telling it like it is, getting maimed and killed over there, and
at the hospital. At
the county hospital, and then there's a story of, what we had to do to deal with that, and how that led to kind of all the influence buying that goes on, and why the normal systems of, of people supervising people don't exist in the county. You had a county hospital where the person hiring all the surgeons that were performing some bad work over there, they were bringing them in from foreign countries and putting them to work for themselves. And so he had a conflict of interest in having these people work for him. He was the chief of surgery, also from a foreign country, and then he got himself, through contributions, I would say, to the supervisors, appointed as the medical director for the hospital as well. So when there was a bad situation there, your only choice was to go to the people's employer, who stood to gain from them continuing working, and bring the issue up. And if it was referred any higher, it was referred to the exact same person who was the medical director in charge of medical care at the hospital. And to take it a step further, to go to the county supervisors, they were all taking contributions from this guy and were unwilling to even acknowledge a conflict of interest or do anything. And to take it a step further than that, you go to the local paper and they refuse to take any action because they're getting large advertising spends from the supervisors, and you're left with nothing to do effectively about a vast problem at the county. That's where I decided I would start spending some efforts, and I joined in with Red at that time to basically say, look, you guys, the supervisors level, don't want to do anything about it. Why don't we look at what your pay is, what you're paying in staff budgets of $1.5 million a year, what you have in discretionary spending of $2 or $3 million a year, and let's try and do something about it. So that was the start, and that's the level to which we want to be able to speak honestly on this show about problems.
I think that's so important as well, because I feel like that's where, for me at least, I get to really understand the passion behind this, because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting family members and just in general the county. I mean, we're speaking about a hospital here down the street from our house practically.
Yeah, and so that's led into this path of trying to get some things passed by the people, and putting the problem before them. And when the county is blocking any ability to do that, then it becomes a bigger problem to deal with. But there's always a way to create change, and that's what we're trying to do. So I think
yeah, and my motivation is maybe a little more theoretical, although as I've kind of worked with Eric on some of this stuff and kind of run into some of the roadblocks in the county, it's becoming more emotional, I guess you might say. But there's just that theoretical, the growth of government and what constrains it, and quite frankly, we constrain it. You and
Right.
By going to the voter, by going to the ballot box, by being involved in stuff like this, and it's not, the people of the county, the people that run the county are not wicked. It's just a system. It's a bureaucracy with the nature is to grow, and the only way to constrain that is interested citizens, paying attention, coming to the ballot box, and making some change, some turns in the way the county's headed.
That's kind of like the way that what we would have to do as a community to have those changes, right? Because for your brother, I mean, how was his experience? Can you share that, like his personal experience? How did he feel about these things where there's he had no control?
Oh, they threatened to, it was a total situation where they threatened to kick not only him but all the other doctors he worked with out of doing surgery at the county hospital, where they had done surgeries for 25 years and had excellent results, over his threat to try and do something about the patient care there. So that was the actual situation, and he found no place to go to it other than to stand up at a 1-minute session at a community board supervisor board meeting and say what's going on. So hopefully we can bring a little more light to things like that. And it's not just that, and we don't demonize people involved throughout this process, but we hope to bring some more light to the problems and why there is a need to supervise every level. You can't, in our company we always use the word, you can't expect what you can't inspect, and there's not a good system of safeguards right now in place in the county that restrains some actions that don't result in a good result for the people here.
I think it would be great, if possible, to have maybe your brother come in, and so we can really...
We'll get my brother in, and we're not just a one-subject thing. We have many things to deal with, and we'll get people in that have the actual experiences to talk about it.
Yeah, I think, and the reason why I say that and I invite your brother to come in is because I would love to hear it from his perspective, being that he lived it. And also, we invite you, the listener, to call in and ask questions, because it's things that are really happening, and we also want you to be part of the show. If you agree, don't agree, if you have something that has happened similar to these type of cases, would be great. And you can always call us at 1-909-792-5222. That's 909-792-5222, where you can be part of the show, U-Turn, where we're going to be talking about these type of things, topics that are going on in our community from real people just like yourself. We're going to cut into a break, and we'll be back.
U-Turn is coming right back. Don't go away.
Lifestyles Unlimited is the real estate investor education and mentoring group that has taken people by the hand and taught them how to invest in real estate for over 24 years. Our students have been so successful at creating wealth and passive income that they've won local, state, and national Investor of the Year awards 9 of the last 9 years. It's easy to see why Personal Real Estate Investor magazine named us the best in the U.S. If you're ready to add real estate to your portfolio, go to getmymapnow.com to access our free live training event schedule.
Wondering who the free workshop is for? We've been amazingly successful with people who are pressed for time. Doctors, lawyers, small business owners, and corporate professionals who are grinding their lives away for earned income and don't realize they can start creating passive income today within the confines of their schedules and commitments. Want to get started now? Go to mypassiveincomeworkshop.com. That's mypassiveincomeworkshop.com.
Attention all business owners, join See's Candies, Big Lots, Dollar Tree, and the Spunky Steer at the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands. Availability is now open for restaurants, retail, and more. Located between Alabama and the Tennessee exits where the 10 and the 210 meet, your company can be a part of over 60 retail shops, restaurants, and local businesses. The Tri-City Shopping Center is zoned for multi-use, so call today and schedule an appointment. Ask for Chris Beauchamp or John Jennings, 951-684-4400. The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands, the mall with a heart.
Tom, Nadia, and Eric are back with more only on the U-Turn Radio Show right here on KCAA.
Welcome back to U-Turn Radio Show, where your opinion also matters. You can call in 909-792-5222. We're here live with Eric, Tom, and we also have a caller, Mark. Hello.
Howdy.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I'm just picking up the last part of your show, and I'll just throw in my 2 or 3 cents in from the thoughts that I was hearing. First of all, I think we definitely need to get more citizen involvement, and that's at the grassroots level and on up. Secondly, we need transparency as to see what's going on in all levels of government. And third, we need to be able to communicate what we see to, in government to our citizens. And unfortunately, our newspapers, they're a dying breed. The San Bernardino Sun, Riverside, and all that are owned by, one conglomerate that really doesn't get down to what's happening on a local level. And, having citizen involvement, having good communication, and then transparency, we can see where we're going. And then, when we get to that standpoint, I think if we had a plan that everybody knew about and could get behind, that would go a long way in, pulling in the same direction on the rope. So, like I said, I'm only picking up the last part of it, and this is my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Mark. And I think this is exactly what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We need more of it.
We appreciate. Thank you so much for calling in. And this is exactly what we're trying to do with this radio show for you, Mark. And like you said, I think it's something that we're bringing information, and so we can have a plan, or make your own plan. But we are opening this platform for that purpose.
Well, improving isn't going to be an overnight situation. It's going to take some time, and it's going to take all levels, from the local level, city level, state level, and the federal level, and getting people involved is the number one priority, and then communicating and keeping the transparency open. That's all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mark, for your call. We appreciate it. And we'll be here next Sunday as well from 2 to 3. This is your radio show U-Turn with Eric and Tom and myself, Nadia Renner. We'll be back every Sunday, 2 to 3. We have great topics, and I think, if possible, Eric, if we could get your brother next weekend so we can really keep developing these type of topics and open platforms for the people to hear it from people that are really living these things here in our community would be amazing.
We can do that at some point. I'm not sure if it's next weekend.
I was
poor
just trying
guy
to make
only
it happen.
he sleeps 4 hours a night. Does a lot of work, that guy. So
yeah,
But we can start the show next time with talking about, some of the, if you want to call it a plan that we did put in place that we wanted to get signatures on, that was, we got sued on by the county. It doesn't deal with the health care issue. It deals with the growth in government issue. And we can talk about that and why they think they sued us. And we can maybe even have somebody from their side on if they want to come talk. So
absolutely, they can definitely do that. And you guys can also email us at tmurphy@brennan.org if you guys have any topics that you guys would want to discuss for any of our following shows. And that's a wrap for us, you guys. That's our first show here at U-Turn on KCAA. Thank you for joining us this Sunday.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.